on HBO. It was called Crashing. And it was basically a show about being a stand-up comic and being an early career stand-up comic and trying to go and get stage time and all that. And Artie was in that show, like every episode of that show for the first season. And then I guess he relapsed and it became an issue on set. And so he was in many fewer episodes the second season.
The second time around.
Yeah, it's too bad. That was a good show. I enjoyed it. And there's a lot of good comedians guest starred on that show because he would like crash with a different one every week. Like he'd go stay at their place or whatever because he and his wife got divorced because she was banging the neighbor or something. She was banging somebody. I can't remember who. And so he's out. He's basically homeless, like doing free comedy shows on stage in the evenings and trying to, eke out a living during the day and crashing on friends' couches.
Oh,
which is what being a comic in New York City is all about.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. Well, let's get started here. Give me 10 seconds of silence, and then I'll hit the intro.
Rolling down the boulevard in the speedboat Corvette, like a tail on a tornado ring to promise soaked in sweat. One hand on the glass pipe, the other on the wheel. Devil riding shotgun, singing, boy, let's make a deal.
This is Groundless, a Justified podcast. This is a podcast where we watch every episode of Justified and then come on here and talk about it. I'm Chris. That man is Randy.
Greetings, and we are back again.
Indeed we are. And we are back this time to talk about Season 5, Episode 7 of Justified, an episode called Raw Deal. And this episode originally aired February 25th, 2014. I'm not positive on this, but I think this is the first time we've had a 2-week break between episodes in real time of the show. So they took a week off and they were back. I suspect what it was the Olympics, because the Sochi Olympics were happening at around this time. And so I think maybe they took the week off to kind of, not have to compete with figure skating or something maybe, or the opening ceremonies or something like that, I think. So that's what I think was going on there. But, for those of you who are new to the show, this is, or you don't know this, but this is the point where I say, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. And we say it in that order because that's the order we want you to do it in. Subscribe is the easy part. You click the little button in your podcast app that lets you subscribe to the podcast. That will automatically download our new episodes to your device so that you can listen to them whenever you're ready. As soon as they're released, you'll be the first to know that new episode is out, and you'll get it before you even know you needed it. So don't forget to subscribe. Rate is where you give us a rating of 5 stars in that podcast application, whether that's Spotify, whether that's iTunes, whether that's Google Play, whatever your preferred choice of podcast provider is. Please rate us 5 stars there. And a review is where you take the time to write a written review explaining what you like about the show, what you might not like about the show. As long as you're giving us 5 stars, feel free to talk about what you don't like about the show, because people do that anyway. So please do. And it gives us an opportunity to improve. But the important part, 5 stars, please, in the stores. So with that out of the way, let's get to, we don't have any corrections this week, which I was surprised by, but we do have a synopsis for this episode. Boyd and the Crows fly south for a crucial drug score while Raylan pursues a small-time grifter with big-time enemies. So I've said this before. This is my favorite episode of season 5, but in rewatching it, I realized I had forgotten about the B plot. entirely. I had forgotten about the whole identity theft, fake website, one-legged man, which, we'll talk about in a second, the one-legged man versus the one-armed man. the Dr. Richard Kimball reference gets made not moments before the guy takes his leg off and jumps out the window. So I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah. But I had forgotten that entire B plot was part of this episode because I was so focused on the Boyd in Mexico stuff that I had forgotten about this. And so that's not one of the show's best B plots, I would say.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining, and the IT guy, because it's it's always nerd against nerd, right? That's the battle, and actually the Marshall's nerd is actually kind of a dick.
Yeah, he's a total dick, which is consistent, right? If you think about that office, everyone's a dick in that office, and so it makes perfect sense that they would hire that guy. I like the IT guy, Chris. His name's Chris also, is a dick. I did like he just completely refused to bro down with Raylan and or Tim. Like they're being, they're trying to be friends with the IT guy because that's what they think they're supposed to do. And he's like, I don't want any part of this. Let me do my job and go home, please. So props to Chris, the IT guy. So this episode written by VJ Boyd, and we know him. He's done a lot of stuff. We heard from his brother last season when we talked about an episode that they had written together. Directed by Bill Johnson, VJ Boyd, Bill Johnson. VJ Boyd for sure. I'd have to look to verify with Bill Johnson, but VJ Boyd for sure involved in Justified, City Primeval, coming soon. I get more excited every time we sit down to record this podcast. I start thinking about, Justified, City Primeval's even closer now. I'm so excited for it to come.
Yeah.
So, VJ Boyd definitely involved in that show, and I think Bill Johnson is also, but that remains to be seen. Guest stars this week. So we've got a few that I wanted to mention. I'm going to start with Dale Dickey, who is Judith, the Heavenly Mother. And she has been in a bunch of stuff. She's a very famous character actress. She's been in a million things. You can check her on IMDb. I'll just name a few here. She's currently in the new A League of Their Own series that's running. I don't know if you saw the trailer for that or the previews for that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a remake of the movie as a TV series, essentially. So
okay. Right.
But it doesn't have John Lovitz in it, so I haven't watched it. the jump take John Lovitz does when he sees Marla Hooch for the first time.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Just so perfect. Cracks me up. But so Judith is currently in A League of Their Own. She was on a show called Claws, which was sort of a I think it was a Breaking Bad style sort of thing about an organized crime ring that was run out of a nail salon. She was in the movie Palm Springs. Do you remember? Did you see Palm Springs?
Have we talked about this on the show before?
I don't think we have. Palm Springs is the Andy Samberg, I think, movie. Andy Samberg, is that right? Who it's the same conceit as Groundhog Day.
Okay.
So Andy Samberg and Kristen Milioti. It's a Groundhog Day sort of thing. It's a time loop that these guests at a wedding get stuck in. And J.K. Simmons is in it too.
Oh, okay.
But it's quite good. Quite good. It's a little bit different than Groundhog Day. And it's different in a very good way, I think. So yeah, if you have a chance and you haven't already, check out Palm Springs. It's a very good movie. She's also in Hell or High Water, which is another very good movie. I know we've talked about that on the podcast before. Mm-hmm. It's about the brothers who robbed the bank. It's so good. Yeah. Check that out for sure. She was in Vice Principals, the TV show. Also in that TV show, Walton Goggins, in that TV show. Very, very funny show. Not the best TV show that's ever been made, but Very, very funny. And Walton Goggins is, of course, fantastic in it. He plays this little effeminate sort of nerdy teacher who is trying to become vice principal, and he's in a competition with, or trying to become the principal of the school, and he's in a competition with his other vice principal, who is
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride, yeah. Okay. And it, you can imagine the kind of hijinks that ensue, of course, with Danny McBride.
Yeah. Oh, would he be considered a character actor? No,
yeah,
he'd be more like
he's not a leading man. He's a comedic actor, which I think they don't really classify them when you're in comedies primarily. They don't really call you a character actor. Yeah, character actor just means ugly, right? Like that's like Hollywood shorthand for ugly.
I do like that Eastbound and Down. You ever watch that?
I have not. It's on my list to see, but that list gets ever longer. But I do want to see Eastbound and Down. I really do like Danny McBride. He's in The Righteous Gemstones. He's fantastic. It's that's
right.
Real good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. She won an Independent Spirit Award as Best Supporting Actress in Winter's Bone, which those of you who have seen that would remember. That's the movie that brought Jennifer Lawrence into our lives.
Yeah.
So her first big hit. She was on a TV show before that, and I think she was in a couple smaller movies and whatnot. But that was where her profile really got raised. She was also in My Name is Earl and Raising Hope, which are, very similarly they have a very similar aesthetic from a comedy standpoint. And I guess she's very good in both of those. So, that's Dale Dickey, who plays Judith. Adrienne France. I think Adrienne France, who plays Candace, who's the TC's girl, who's there. I don't know. It's not really his girlfriend, sort of, kind of, not really his girlfriend. I don't know. He's very mean to her. But Adrienne France, I think I'm comfortable saying this. She has been in more episodes of television than any other guest star we've had on the show. I think more episodes of television than any other person who's been on Justified. She did lots of soap opera work. And so she was on, check this out. She was in 1,236 episodes of The Bold and the Beautiful. That's 1,236 episodes.
How many years would that be?
That's if you aired the show every day for 4 years, that would be about that many. And that includes Sundays, holidays, no reruns. That's crazy. I think they make about 200 episodes a year, roughly, on sitcoms. So that's 6 straight years of being in every, but being in every episode.
Yeah. It looks like she went through a redhead phase, and a blonde phase.
Yep.
I'm just looking at her Googled her.
So in addition to the 1,236 episodes of The Bold and Beautiful, she's also in 400 episodes of The Young and the Restless after that.
Oh, wow.
So she's been in 1,600 episodes of television just for those two shows, which I think has got to be the record for any of the people we've had on the show. And she's also been in some other stuff. She was in 6 Feet. She was in an episode of 6 Feet Under. She was in an episode of That 70s Show. She's been in a few other things, but mostly known for being in a soap opera. So if you recognized her, that is where you recognized her from, was either The Bold and the Beautiful or The Young and the Restless. So, And then TJ Leonard. He's TC Fleming, the hacker, if you will, the phone freaker since he was 14. Do you know what phone freaking is or was?
Yeah.
It was like as a teenage miscreant who was interested in technology 30 years ago. I got familiar with phone freaking.
Yeah. Even by the time, I think, what was that movie, Hackers? Whenever that movie came out, I even think by that time it was kind of like the phone freaking stuff had kind of gone away, or maybe it wasn't as popular as it was.
Yeah,
but that's one of the problems.
It was just easier. I think what happened was by the time the mid '90s rolled around, it was just easier to steal like calling card credentials than it was to try and hack the phone system. So
Yeah, or to make one of those boxes that make the sound of their.
I always wanted one of those so bad.
Yeah.
That could echo the tones. Oh,
yeah, of the coins going in. Yeah.
Yep. And you could make it. Like if you had it keyed right, you could make it spit money out of the payphones too. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So our phone freaker, he's got a limited resume, so he's not been in a bunch of stuff. He's currently in a series on Freeform called Good Trouble, and